that if you've got a card and it's 4 years old and you haven't used it in 4 years, your let's see, your not your issue could be that that credit card may close on you for lack of activity. That may be your issue, and you don't want it to close either. And you'll see that in the next tip that'll help you with your credit score. You'll see that. All right, so let's pause right quick. We only went through two. That's ridiculous, but we only went through two. But we're gonna pause right quick, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna do the question of the day. So I told you guys at the top of the show that Brandon was back. So Brandon from Illinois is the question of the day today, and so Brandon asks this question: why does my credit score fluctuate? So that's a very good question. It's a loaded question too, because there are so many reasons that your credit score may fluctuate. So the question of the day, of course, again, is brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Cute as a Cupcake is located at 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Get by Cute as a Cupcake and tell them that the 800 credit score man sent you. All right, back to Brandon. So Brandon, again, thank you again for participating in the show. You know you're already part of the family. I think if you have more questions, you got another question, two, three questions. I think maybe you have to go from being a cousin to being a nephew to being an uncle or something, because Brandon has a lot of questions, and I think his status in the family is moving up. All right, so why does your credit score fluctuate? Well, I'll tell you this. Sometimes your credit score fluctuates basically or seemingly for no reason at all. You haven't done a thing, you haven't charged anything, you haven't paid anybody off, you haven't, anything hasn't happened. So it seems like it moves when it wants to sometimes. So this is the thing. We're just not privy to everything in the formula that the credit bureaus use. You may think that you have, 3 credit scores and that's it, because there are the 3 credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. But you have dozens and dozens of credit scores. Some of them are industry specific. We talked before on the show about, it being for like mortgages or for cars, for example. So you have those things. So since you have those industry specific things, sometimes things fluctuate. And so they'll fluctuate and your score may go down some. Sometimes it'll even go up a few points and you're like, I haven't done anything. I don't even know why it increased. But you do get that advantage every now and then. So there's your overall FICO score. So, you got that overall FICO score. You contact My FICO, or if you go through discover.com and they give you your FICO score, that's an overall FICO score. It's not necessarily specific to if you went and tried to get a mortgage, or if you went to go try to buy a car, or even when you're trying to get a credit card. They're going to be specific sometimes, but you have an overall FICO score. And then now you have the Vantage score. So you got Vantage out there. Anytime you're looking at Credit Karma or probably even Credit Sesame, or if you're getting something sometimes from even credit.com, that's going to be a Vantage score. When you're looking and you're on these sites, go ahead and read the fine print. It'll tell you if it's FICO or if it's Vantage score or what have you. So you have that as well. So your scores are going to be different. So you have dozens and dozens of scores. So if you've listened to the show before and you've really paid attention, you know that I refer to all of these things as buckets. You got all these buckets. You got your mortgage bucket. You got your your car bucket. But your buckets even have buckets. So since that's the case, we don't know exactly why your score may fluctuate. So there are layers and layers to this credit scoring system. So whatever bucket you're in, it could have changes within that bucket itself, or simply one of your old accounts has went ahead and turned 10 years old and that's fallen off of your credit report and you just didn't know it, you just didn't notice it, so it no longer counts for you, or you could have had an inquiry, something as simple as an inquiry fall off and they're no longer counting that against you. So then that means your credit score goes up a little bit. So sometimes your accounts don't report on time, not meaning that you were late and they reported you late or anything, but they were late reporting to the credit bureaus, and so it didn't get that particular part that's updating, so your credit score could fall. So there's all these reasons that we don't absolutely know why your credit score falls. And so since I'm here, it does fluctuate. So again, seemingly with no reason at all, they do fluctuate. But here's the thing: since we're talking about this. Don't sweat small decreases. So if 6 points, 6 points is absolutely nothing. Now it's you love it when you get or you gain 6 points, but 6 points is not a lot of points for you to be worrying about. Now 20 points is cause for concern. If your score dips down for 20 points, you need to be looking to see why in the world did I fall 20 points. That's cause for concern. And 60 points would probably be cause for panic. So make sure that you're watching your credit score and seeing these fluctuations. If you see the fluctuations, and again, if it's 8 points, 6 points, 4 points, it's not a big deal if it's going down that much. You'll probably rebound the next month. But for whatever reason, there could be an update in any of the systems. So it could be an update with FICO. It could be an update with any of the systems at all. And so that's why your credit score is fluctuating. So look, stay tuned. Stay tuned with the 800 Credit Score Man Show. You might find more information about fluctuations. I might do a whole show about your credit score is fluctuating. So again, thank you so much, Brandon. I appreciate you. You know I do, for always contacting me and bringing good questions to help me out with the show, as well as help the general public at large. Again, the question of the day is brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Cute as a Cupcake is located at 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Get by Cute as a Cupcake and let them know that the 800 Credit Score Man sent you. All right, so let's get back to some of these tips. So we talked about, your revolving debt, eliminating it, and then and also reducing it as one of the first things. Let's talk about this third thing. And I don't know if I mentioned this already. Let's talk about this. Leave old debts alone. So a lot of people want their credit report to look beautiful and clean and shiny and all this other stuff. If you got old debts on your credit report, leave them there, good or bad. They are helping you. So if you got an old debt, you paid it off 5 years ago, it's still on your credit report, and it just burns your britches just because you see it every time you look at your credit report, especially if it was a positive account. Leave it alone. Do not try to have it removed for any reason at all. Let it naturally fall off in 10 years or whenever it's going to fall off. If they keep it past 10 years, great, because it's helping your credit score. It helps with your average length of history. Average length of history is 15% of your credit score. And so if you only have things that are newer or open on your credit report, then you're hurting yourself. A lot of people, I've talked to so many people and been in so many Facebook groups and different chats and things where people was like, I dispute everything. I disputed it all. I had all those things wiped off my credit report, and now they have no credit score at all. Or they have a credit score and it's a 400 credit score because they're not getting the benefit of all of the past things that would have helped them out. So make sure that you go ahead and you keep those old things on your credit report. It absolutely helps you. Now, we're talking about regular accounts. We're not talking about collections or judgments or anything of that nature. If you can get a judgment off your credit report, of which there should be no judgments on your credit report. Let me pause right here. Absolutely, let me pause right here. I was actually talking to a young lady by the name of Shauna, who was out of Indiana, and I mentioned to her that judgment should not be on your credit report anymore after July of this year. So July 2017, there should be no judgments on your credit report, and she suggested that I mention it on the show. So here I am, I'm mentioning it on the show. So you shouldn't have any of those judgments on your credit report. So if you can get, since I'm in here talking about that, but if you can get a bankruptcy taken off your credit report, if you can get collections taken off your credit report, anything that's negative like that, then absolutely you should do it. But if you had an old account, you had an old student loan that's been there forever, you've been out of school 40 years or what have you, leave it on there, let it be. You paid it off 8 years ago, let it be. It's helping you with your length of history. And again, that's 15% of your credit score. And there's not much you can do with your length of history as far as helping you improve it or anything. There's not much you can do. So you want to keep those old accounts on there. So make sure you do that. Don't take them off. All right, let me pause right here and do a couple of more shout outs before we get gone today. All right, got to give a shout out to George Banks. Happy birthday, George Banks. You talking about a talented artist. This man could draw anything. anything. I tell you, he can draw anything. So happy birthday to you, George Banks. Is actually my old college roommate. So happy birthday to you. I gotta give a big shout out to Bobby Terrell. That's Beto. That's his rap name. So y'all check out Beto. Go on YouTube. I'm sure he's got something in there. That's B as in boy, I, D as in David, O. That's Beto. Check out Bobby Terrell. So happy birthday to you, man. And then I got to give a shout out to Felicia McKinney as well. Happy birthday to you. I've seen you on Facebook doing your thing this weekend to celebrate your birthday. Looks like you're having a great time. I hope Hamilton was really good. So happy birthday to you, Felicia McKinney. And then I want to give out another shout out to the Nick Williams. So happy birthday to you, Nick. I think today is actually your birthday. So happy birthday to you, Nick. You share a birthday with my brother, so you must be a good guy. Happy birthday, Nick Williams. All right, so let's go on and get done with the show. So look, what's the fourth thing? I think this is like number 4. Who knows? I'm not counting. So here's another top tip. Shop wisely. And when I say shop wisely, I don't mean when you're going out to Kohl's and Target and Walmart and all that kind of stuff. When I say shop wisely, I'm talking about your 14 days that you get to use when you're applying for credit. You only get to do this if you're applying for a mortgage or for a auto loan. It doesn't have to be a car, of course. It could be a truck or RV or something like that. When you're applying for those types of things, and also more recently, if you're shopping for student loans. So you have 14 days. This is what I mean by shop wisely. You got 14 days to go ahead and go see as many people as you want to. Get your credit run from all of those places as much as you want. You got 14 days. Do 10 a day. Who cares? You're going to have 140 of them. But you get to go ahead and do that, and it only gets counted against you as one. Now, each and every one of those inquiries are going to show up on your credit report, but it still only counts against you as one. And actually, this 14 days is going to be extended. It actually has already been extended by some of the different upgrades in the credit scoring, but you don't know which system where you're going, which system they're on. If they're on an older version of FICO or what have you, then they may only give you credit for the 14 days. So it's best to stick within that 14-day window. If somebody's using the newest versions, they're using FICO 9, then you would get 30 days to do all of this shopping around, so you can get the best rate and the best car or whatever it is. So make sure that you use your calendar. Use it wisely. And shop wisely. So the very first day that you walk into that auto dealership and you put in an application and they run your credit 6 times and, you come back, maybe you don't like the deal, maybe you just want to think about the car or what have you. When they do that, you've got 14 days from that very first day. You can go next door, you can go to another state, whatever it is, but you want to shop wisely and use that 14 days to your advantage. Because if you got your credit report run, 10 times and over more than the 14 days, and then you would get into the fact of you losing points every time somebody pulled your credit report. So again, caution you, it's only for mortgages and cars, and then now also with student loans as well. You'll be able to shop those things. So make sure that you use your calendar and take a look at those 14 days. Make sure you get it all in within that 2-week time frame. So a couple of more things before we get out of here. So, of course, pay your bills on time. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't say pay your bills on time. I think it goes without saying, but I've got to say it. Top tip for you to keep your credit score is to pay your bills on time every time, except when a little bit ahead of time. Because after all, your payment history is the biggest factor when it comes to your score. It's not the only factor. It's one of 5 factors, but it's the biggest factor. It carries the most weight at 35%. So make sure that you make your bills on time. Everything that comes to your credit report, make sure you pay it on time. Do not be 30 days late no matter what. Try to avoid that. And then, so number 6, I think we're at 6. Maybe we're at 7 or 8. So another top tip is to do this. Avoid looking risky. Now, that's kind of hard to do sometimes, but you want to avoid looking risky. How can you look risky? You look risky if you charge too much. So maybe the credit bureaus give you a break if it's around, if it's around a holiday. it's around Christmas or something like that. You know, maybe it's around Easter and, you know, you got 5 kids and you buying 5 Easter suits, whatever it is. You might get a break from the credit scoring system there. But if you go and charge too much, just seem to be random, you know, you got a $3,000 credit limit. It's always been $500. That's all you've ever kept on